welcome to Impact Wrestling. And I'm trying the new camera again. I've been still trying to figure out how to make the sound a little higher, but not so bad that if I make it too loud, the sound begins to go like that. It's happened a couple of times already. Well, more than a few times while I've been testing. So I'm hoping this time I got it right. I don't know yet. I won't know until I edit this video on my editing software, because the last few times you've seen the good, better quality, it's been through my editing software to improve the sound. Now I got my new lens, so now you can see it changes pretty quickly. It's actually been changing pretty quickly. I just got the lens today. I tested it. It works. Yes, no noise when the lens goes. That's what I was waiting for. Okay, let's get into the show. Look, guys, I'm not going to lie. After No Surrender, I thought it was a good show. It wasn't a perfect show. Didn't have everything everybody liked, but it wasn't 100% bad. It actually was pretty good. This show, I'll say the beginning and the middle wasn't bad, but nearing the end, it pissed me off. And that is, I got to say this before I get started. I'm going to say this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. And, okay. This is for anyone who knows anybody from Impact Wrestling, like in management or in the production truck. Look, I say this to you now. As a fan, a humble fan who doesn't know everything, that this is just his point of view. I do love your product. I am still worried that you have issues. And I'm hoping working with AEW will have a more better presence in the American market. I know you got a great international strength there, but I know you want to get into the American market more. And Access TV is not one of the greatest ways to get into the American market, but working on, sending your people over to TNT will help you a lot in hopes of bringing more eyes in. So I am hoping for that for you guys. But look, if you hear anything, if anyone gets one of those people to see this video, I say this clearly. I'm going to explain my point of view at the end of this, but you need to listen to what I got to say. You have no fans. And it's time to change up how you use your camera work and your people who run the cameras. I'll explain it more later, but I'm stating it right now. Near the end of your show, your camera work was so bad, it enraged me. If you have not seen MLW episode 121, I did a review of it. I've not seen the product in 3 years. The camera work was horrendous. Not good lighting outside, bad camera work, and okay to so-so audio. Your audio is way better. Most of the time, your camera work is good. Easily could nearly rival the WWE. Not perfect, but it's good enough that you can easily come close to NXT type of quality. No problem. But in this show, I saw some very bad things that if you do not listen to me, you're going to have fans that are not going to be happy because they're not there at the place you're working, and they're going to get very enraged in time. Now let me get into the show. Zooming back. Okay, guys. I'm sure no one from Impact is going to see this, but I said this for you guys because I want you to understand my anger. The first match of the night, TJP versus Josh Alexander. Now, understand this. I think some people will think, well, this has to be because of what happened in Vengeance Day and how it was booked. Well, you got to remember, this was booked and filmed probably days before anything happened with Vengeance Day in NXT. So this was done beforehand. So you can't compare, even though the work is very comparable. Now, what did we get in this match? We got a lot of chain wrestling, a lot of counters. I know TJ Perkins is a good high flyer when he wants to be, but he is more of a technical wrestler. He really is. He's a very good technical and submission wrestler. That's the way I see him. And when you see this situation, I'm still learning how to adjust this camera, guys. I'm sorry. It's making me a little nervous. Hope you don't mind. Just when you see this match and how many counters were done, many people would say, oh, there's too many damn counters. It is too annoying. It's like having too many fishes. No, there's a difference. There's a difference between doing finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher and not having a lull in between. Because a lot of times what wrestlers would do, high flying wrestlers would do, or high impact wrestlers these days would do, they would do move after move after move after move with no pause. The only person that understands that is Pac of AEW, or Pac. I say Pac, he says Pac. It doesn't matter. He's one of the best wrestlers I know. I love the guy. I'll see if I can get a post of him eventually when I switch this mess out. But he's one of the best. The second best that I know of is TJ Perkins. And the third would be Josh Alexander. It was not about getting the moves in, their finishing moves. This was about chain wrestling and trying to counter one another. There's a difference between constant finishers and constant chain wrestling and counters. That is what true amateur wrestling is. And freestyle wrestling, most of the time you're trying to outthink your opponent. And it's rare to see in wrestling these days. At least unless it's in the indies and you can't see it. In this situation, this is what we saw and was very good. And the camera work was actually quite very good there. In the end, I didn't expect TJ Perkins to lose here. I really. But it's a question of what goes on with TJ next. Now, Ace Austin, who won the Super Cup, the Super X Cup, he now comes to the office. He says, look, I want my shot. You've been doing whatever you can to stop me. I want it. And true, Scott has been trying to stop people from causing trouble on the show. So he says, look, you want your shot? Okay. Next week, we get a 6-man tag. The team that wins will face each other the next week. And that next week, whoever wins is the number one contender. And pretty much Ace is saying, this is what I got to do? Fine. I don't care how many obstacles you put in my damn way. I'm going to win. Win. You're not stopping me. I'm going to win. Period. And that was good to see. But I would like to see a storyline. Now, mind you, I understand they're not going to be doing constant storylines for everybody. They're not. But when was the last time we saw a substantial storyline from the X Division? The most strongest storyline we had was pretty much Ace Austin and Trey and the problems he had with his mom and how Ace was messing with him. That was the most substantial, honestly. So we haven't seen one good one in a while. So there you go. Now, I want to say that the viewership on Twitch was pretty damn good. It stayed hovering between, 6,700 and 7,500. I think it jumped up and down. So compared to how it was almost a year ago, they've gained a lot of interest on Twitch. I don't know if anyone's going to care about that because they care more about the ratings that's going on with, when it comes to how the ratings they go in Access TV, is probably not much different than Nielsen, and I don't know what they are. But at least you'll see on a platform that many people have the best option, not the most, the best option to deal with. I think that's pretty damn good. Really. It's not reaching the point where happened with Kenny showing up there. It was like 50,000 or 56,000, but 7,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Now, we had Willa Mack, Daivari, Suicide, and Trey. A fatal four-way that really didn't lead anywhere. And I don't mean in the sense that it doesn't show and promote how good these guys are. But really, it doesn't really give us anything going forward unless you're in the 6-man tag that I just mentioned. Now, it was a good match. Trey was the one who shined the most there. Now, I know there are going to be some that say Daivari looked good, and Daivari didn't look bad as the big muscle boy. He's not someone to josh at, and we always love our Willa Mack. Suicide is just Suicide. We know who Suicide is, and I would rather see Suicide as somebody else. I'm not against one who's, it's Caleb with a K. You can see how he stands. You can see how he moves. It's Caleb with a K. I would like to see him without being like that. Honestly, put someone new into Suicide. That's what I think would be good. In the end, Trey wins, but the question is going to be, what does this give Trey? Does it give him momentum going into the 6-man tag next week? Because I do believe he's a part of it. You guys tell me below. I'm still kind of like, I'm looking at this camera like, it's good, Am I getting this right? Is the sound working? I am so nervous I got this thing right, and probably the sound is not good. Anyway, Hernandez versus Matt Cardona. Now, you have Brian Myers outside watching this. He's been paying Hernandez, one, if you go in the ring, I'm paying you half. Two, if you come out of the ring and you win, you get the other half. And in this match, Hernandez did not get the other half because he got his butt kicked by Matt Cardona. But the thing that I was waiting for, because I didn't understand why they were even doing this, and I was waiting for these two to actually confront one another, because when you saw the last time they confronted one another, there was really nothing there. So you seeing that Brian Myers is getting angry and upset the last time, particularly with his eye getting messed up going like this, it didn't feel right because there was nothing there between him and Matt yet. Once the match was over and he was interviewed in the ring, and he's saying, look, this is not about Brian. This is not about anybody else. This is about me wanting more and wanting to be a world champion. Then he jumps back into the ring and he finally confronts Matt. Brian finally says, what is your problem? Why are you here? Why are you here? This is mine. This is my place. He says, you don't, what is your problem? You doing what you do. I'm doing what I'm doing. We're supposed to be friends. What is the deal? Hernandez attacks him from behind, and then Eddie again saves a Matt Cardona. And what, they're going to be a tag team now? Matt and Eddie? Is this what's going to happen? I don't know why they still have Hernandez involved in this. I don't know why they have Eddie Edwards. It feels like Hernandez and Eddie Edwards are props. To me personally, that's how they feel. And I care more about seeing Hernandez deal with the Falaba and the... I'm going there now. I'm going there. I was not interested in seeing them do the Swinger Palace. I was not interested in seeing that they're doing something with 21 and Falaba having a gambling problem. But it's kind of grown on me a little bit because it's going away from the shooting of Bravo. Bravo is now just a dealer. You got the Swingettes in the background, and you have the Alicia Edwards at the side, who pretty much is trying to be a good girl. And it has an interesting dynamic. I'm not saying it's great. It's still revolving around the freaking wad of money that Swinger got. And when you see the amount of money that Hernandez got from Brian Myers, and then you see Falaba trying to get his hands on some more money so he can try and get some money back and try to get his dream, his precious, my precious. That is what he wants. He wants his precious back. He wants a lot of money of his own. He can't get it from Hernandez. He can't get it from Swinger. So he's got to earn it by trying to gamble for it. So it's interesting. Then you have the moment, and I'm adding it in there, of, and this is where it gets confusing. Why did they bring back a Muhammad Shira just to get shitted on by they're in my face. I got to show them my face. What was the point of Raju having a Shira by his side? Why didn't you build them up and then have them be interested in the tag title match? I mean, try and get a tag title match. And then as they fail, you see Raju trying to get the X Division. And then when he fails, then you do this little bit. This is so sudden and so quick. What was the point of them even coming together? And Raju blaming him, then Shira's ready to bust his face in. Then he shoves you get Storm, the Storm, baby, getting annoyed that he gets shoved and then pops a bottle into Raju's head and knocks him out, and then goes over to the Swinger Palace with a saving by his side. What was the point? Why? I think that might be the word I'm going to use for this show. Why? Why did this happen? Because there was more than a few things here that made no sense and needed to be why. Where they're leading. Now, we had Finn Juice versus Reno Scum. Now, the the video pack they had really didn't say anything. It just showed New Japan Pro Wrestling and showed these two working New Japan. And it's obvious that AEW is working with New Japan and Impact Wrestling is working New Japan, which is a step up. And they're not taking anything away from Pro Wrestling No when they once worked with them. But let's be honest. Comparing Pro Wrestling Noah to New Japan Pro Wrestling, this is New Japan, this is Pro Wrestling Noah. That's what I understand. I could be wrong. You guys can tell me if they're at the same tier, but this is where it is. Pro Wrestling, New Japan. This is how it's supposed to be. And it's a nice step up to see that Impact is working with them. Now, was the match good? It wasn't bad. I gotta admit, when it comes to, how can I say this about Juice? I don't know. Maybe it was his ring attire that was throwing me off. He's not bad in ring. But I think his ring attire was messing with me. And the music sucks. I think that's not the right music for them. If it was from New Japan, I can understand it was good there. But here it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good for them. They need better music. Honestly, they need better music for their introduction. I hope they do change it. I don't think that's the right music for them. Seeing Dave Finlay was quite interesting. He does not have the same moveset as his dad. I don't know if he was trained by his father at any point. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. But his movesets are completely different from Finn Finlay himself. It's quite interesting to see the difference between a father and a son. And understand that he's a third generation. That's what. Why don't they ever mention that? I think Finn Finlay's father was also a wrestler or promoter. So he's a third generation wrestler, as far as I can tell. Or at least he's a second generation wrestler. Why don't they ever didn't they bring it up? I hope that someone from Impact does hear this and say, look, if Dave Finlay's grandfather worked in a promotion as a wrestler or as a promoter or as a manager or even as a ref, he's a third generation wrestling child. Mention him, please. That might actually give him a little bit more in Impact Wrestling. Even if he's not interested in it, see if you can fit this into his character, stating, look, I've been in the business all my life. My father's been in the business all my life. My grandfather's been in the business. I have it in my blood, and me and the Juice, are going to show why we were so great in New Japan Pro Wrestling as IWGP Tag Team Champions. I'm glad I got that out right. That is how it is. And I didn't expect them to lose here. Of course they had to win. Then you got the Good Brothers coming out and pretty much screwing with them because since they were in New Japan Pro Wrestling at the same time as the Good Brothers were during the time of the club, or the Bullet Club as it's called, they were letting them understand, hey, it's the boys. Which, if you don't know, anyone who comes in early has got to cater to the older generation or the prominent generation in a wrestling promotion in Japan. They must show them respect. They got to work in the dojos, they got to clean the dojos, and they have to cater to the current wrestlers that are either the veterans or the most prominent. That's how it is. And that's what they were messing them with. And they came back with a little bit. Juice did say that, hey, we have no problem having some drinks because they offered them some beers or some whiskey. But they said, look, we have no problem with it, but just make sure that Carl doesn't wipe out early and then piss on himself in the morning. That got Carl angry, and that was actually not bad. And I'm all right with this. Now we got another tag team there. Hopefully Reno Scum is going to stay there because they need to stay there. Hopefully that they're going to be showing Finn Juice. I got to get used to that. Finn Juice the way they are. And give them more promo time. Give them something. Make it about what's special about each of them. So when they are a unit, we will care because there's a difference between how wrestlers from either a European or American country go to Japan and have to book themselves compared to Americans. They got to have more character. Please, someone at Impact realize this. Write for them properly, please. Now, we had how can I say how angry I was about this match? And it wasn't because the match quality was bad. It was not. Tennille Dashwood versus Havea, yeah. And the story about this is that Havea is frustrated because twice now they were supposed to try and win gold and they both failed again. And she's wondering why you want me around. And she's almost ready to walk away. But now Tennille Dashwood wants to be in a tag team and she's trying to convince Havoc, I'm the best for you, baby. Please take me. And Havea says, no, 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 no. Me and you in the ring. This is where you're going to be. And they went to the ring, and then this is where my enrage, my pissed off, they're in my face. I don't know how many shots, if I got any shots of how bad the camera work was. I know I got some shots between Moose and calm down. I know I got shots of Moose and Tommy, but here I'm not sure. I don't think I got any shots because I was literally about to scream my damn head off. I was so angry. The camera work was bad. You can barely see what was going on. The main camera, the main one that shows the entire ring, in most cases, they were zooming in so much. Instead of showing the entire ring, they were zooming in so much. And then they tried to transition from the two. They got two men. Let me explain. You got three cameras. You got the main camera, I believe they call it the hard camera. That is the main one. That shows everything. Then you have the two cameras on both sides of the ring with two cameramen there that shows more close-up action. The problem for me is this. You do not understand that as having no fans, you don't need to be that close up. In fact, it would be better that they be further back. When you have fans in an arena or a small venue like Impact Wrestling is in, the problem here is this. They have to be in close quarters, and there's no way you're going to get 100% good coverage of the entire match. It's not possible, and I know that myself. I've been watching wrestling long enough to know this. You don't scream down at someone because they can't get the camera work due to the fact there's just no room because there are fans there, but you have no fans. This is no excuse. They could have moved back the rails. They could have easily, because the majority of their fans are at home, need to see what's going on in the ring. And whoever was in the production truck did not understand that. And when it came to the camera work, it was so bad. Either I saw the women's boobs, butts, feet, head, sometimes. And the worst thing was the camera next to the angles being either too close or being just bad. They had bad transitions when they were about to do a move. They switched to the main hard camera, the big one, the one that had the widest angle, and it just looked bad, particularly when they zoomed in. It was so bad I could barely see what was going on in the ring. And maybe it is because of what happened with MLW episode 121, how bad their camera work is, which is incredibly bad. It is so bad, I don't know why people would even watch. Really. But here, this reminded me of it. It was that bad. They should not be doing such close camera angles. They need to pull back, do the WWE thing, and show the entire inside of the ring at a good angle. It may not... Let me explain. This is for the main camera, the one that shows the ring. When they're in the corners, they can be like this, slightly smaller, and show the bottom of the ring ropes, the third and the second and first ring ropes. They should be showing that. Not so close up you're looking at the eyes of the person, unless it's something very special. They were doing so many close-ups. In the end, Tennille Dashwood won and Nevaeh lost, and now she's going to be frustrated. Tell me below how you feel. All right. Violent by Design with Deaner saying, I didn't win, but it makes no difference. I am going to defeat you. Jake something. I forgot what he calls himself. I really don't like it. Somebody, I believe. That's what he calls himself. Jake somebody. He's going to have a tables match for the next week. What is the stakes? If he fails, he pays a price. Now, what is that price? It's going to be a question. Hopefully it's a good one. Finally, the match that really made no sense, and I say why. Moose versus Tommy. Look, I'm not against Tommy. You guys know I like Tommy. I still care about Tommy. Tommy is still a good wrestler. It's harder for him to move in the ring. He's my age. Well, he's older than me by a couple of months. So I'm 49. He's now 50. So that's just how it goes. But I don't understand why they did this match. Wouldn't it have been more productive that you got Rich Swann next week, which is this week, after No Surrender, and he goes in the ring and says, I had one of the best matches I could have ever had. And this is without Moose interfering. I gave someone that I respect and cared about a shot at this title, and he showed me something. He showed me why he is still prominent and important, and he gave me something to learn about. And then Moose comes out, and then he pretty much says, it's time. Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me my damn title shot. And you could have the banter that way. And then if Tommy had to come out, he could have came out to talk to Moose and then laid him out and then make it mean something more than just having Moose fight Tommy in an old school match and Rich is out. Where we really don't need Rich out, when we need more from Rich, unless something happened to Rich and he could not be there. Because you never know, something could have happened during this taping that they had already, you never know. But I hope nothing happened. Was this a good match? I couldn't tell. Because the camera work in this match was just as bad as the one with Tennille as well as Havea. It was disgusting. I don't know if these were new cameramen. I don't know if these were cameramen who were replacements for the other cameramen. Maybe they got sick, or the guys just could not come in because they were too afraid. Or they were the normal cameramen and they were just sloppy due to the fact of what they were told in the production truck. It was disgusting to see this match. It just was. And in the end, Moose wins, but he doesn't really gain anything. There's no Rich. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't see the purpose of that match. But this is just me. Tell me how you feel about the camera work that happened in the last two matches. I know the camera work throughout most of the night was not perfect. Yes, it showed signs of being not good. But the last two matches were really bad. And I'm hoping someone from Impact understands you need to rethink how you film your shows from now on until you get fans. Have more wider angles in the ring so people at home could see what's really going on. Do big, wide, sweeping angles on the sides of the ring. And with the hard camera, don't zoom in as much. Literally, have the camera go maybe halfway. Here's full. Here's half. Keep it at that so people can see what's going on because it can't come. Remember, we're still in a pandemic. People don't even have the injections yet. In my area, no. Not unless you're part of... If I was still working in a nursing home, I would have already had the injections. Because I was going to be working in dietary. If I was still working for in the last 11 years. I haven't worked in 11 years because of my disability. If I was working, I would have had the injection. But no one has it. So please, someone hear me. Peace.